What is happening, Gray? I messed that all up, didn't I?
I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Hey, listen, from now on, ladies and gentlemen, those of you that maybe was not in my last live stream, from now on, the Star Spangled Banner will be played in the beginning of every one of our live streams, be it here or be it my regular live stream. So what's going on, Gray? How you doing, my brother?
Another day in paradise, man. I came off a week. Like I said, last week, me and the wife, she took an extra day off, so I didn't get much time on YouTube, but we had our wedding anniversary.
All right. Good for you,
so
man.
We had a good time, did some stuff, spent family time together in the garden and whatnot. So, you know, things happen. You got to, you know, life's more important than YouTube sometimes. So you got to do that.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hey, before we even start, let me go ahead and show everyone this because they've been asking in the comments and stuff. So I'm going to show you all a picture and then a very short video, maybe like 20 seconds or so. And I want to tell you that this first picture that I'm going to show you all, this is my daughter's doing, okay? I would not do this to an animal or a pet, but check this out. This is Lulu getting indoctrinated into the family. All right. And then this is her also. She's getting really big. She's almost twice as big as she was when she first got here, almost just shy of 2 weeks now, right? About a week and a half ago. But that's her taking a little nap. And this is how big she is now. She is getting really big in a short span of time. And her big sisters are trying to keep her under control. Look at that's Karma.
Be
Karma's
patient with her.
protesting.
Just be patient. That's all.
But anyways, I just wanted to show that out there. That way you all would see it right quick before anyone.
Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it.
How's everyone doing today? I hope you all had a good weekend. Let's see, take it away, Gray, because you know if I get started, you know I got reprimanded again on the last live stream that we did, Gray. I thought I did pretty good. Even after that live stream, I told Gray, ladies and gentlemen, I did good, didn't I, Gray? I didn't talk that much today. And I got reprimanded saying, Rudy, you have to let Gray talk once in a while. So take it away.
Folks have to understand that basically the way this works is I have stuff that I like to ask you. I get involved in some of it when my opinion matters in certain aspects, but the main thing is me basically engaging with you because that's how we do it on the phone. That's how we started this whole thing. I'd call Rudy on the phone and be like, hey, what's going on, man? Hey, did you hear about that? And then we'd be on the phone for an hour.
Yep, and that's how it usually works. And I think our longest talk was about an hour and 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, well, I can look back. We probably had at least a couple hours. I remember sitting in a parking lot, my daughter staring at me like, when am I getting off the phone? Oh man, and thank you guys for the well wishes for the happy anniversary wishes. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that.
I see that all of our lovely mods are here today. Hello, ladies. Good to see every one of you. Except for I don't think there's Yarn Prepper. There she is. Hello. Allie Roo is in the house. Hello, Allie Roo. Haven't seen you in a minute. KT, how you doing? Elizabeth, my secondhand life. I like that. Prepper or Pepper Prepper. How you doing? Margarita Castaneda is in the house. How you doing? Joe J.
Margarita.
Ali, how are you? So what do you got for tonight, Dre? What are we going to talk about?
Who knows, man? I'm just gonna just ramble stuff off and talk about my life and just sidetrack everything. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's do it.
I did get smarter though. I made the viewer questions bigger this time around towards the end, so I can at least read them without having to wear glasses.
We're not going to get through all those viewer questions,
oh,
right?
No, not at all. But we'll eventually get there. You know what I mean? I'll just keep on adding them as we check them off.
We'll keep practicing.
And I think that's that. And then I got our topics for tonight. We won't get through those either, but hey, it's a start, man. So let's go with the folks. Some folks are probably clicking on this video because they want to know a little bit about the trucker situation developing in New York. That's supposed to be going down today. And you did a video just recently on that. That's doing very good, getting good traction, getting the information out there. So let's start with that, Rudy.
Well, to talk briefly on that, you like that, Great? Briefly? No, the reason I did that video, I know that there's probably a whole bunch of videos about that going out because it's trending, right? But the main reason I did that video is to wake people up that it doesn't matter where you live, that anything can happen. And it doesn't have to be a trucker strike. It can be anything, right? And I'm hoping that by telling people what's going to be the consequences of no supplies being brought into New York City on day number 1 or week number 1 or on the second week, it would actually wake some people up to the fact that they need to get prepared, right? It wasn't grandstanding on why the truckers are refusing to deliver to New York. It wasn't really political in any way whatsoever, but just trying to use it as a thought experiment so that those of you that think that everything's going to be all right all of the time, understand that you need to be prepared, number 1. And number 2, especially with New York, Chicago, California, these places like that, that you understand that your government is not going to come to your rescue. All right. So you have to make sure that you're prepared for yourselves. And I'll just finish with this, Gray. I read a comment off of that video earlier today, and I don't remember the name of the commenter. It doesn't really matter, but they said something to something like, this is just going to end up being nothing, a big nothing burger, right? That this trucker strike and everything that everyone's talking about, making a big deal about it, it's going to be a big nothing burger. And I have to disagree 100%. And the reason I have to disagree with that comment is that, let's say that through the commenter's eyes, it is a nothing burger, right? Meaning that maybe even if the truckers go on strike, not enough of them go on strike where New York still gets its supplies and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe not in that way, but the reason I think it's a big deal is because what are we doing right now? We're talking about it. And there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views on YouTube alone. And not just TikTok, not just YouTube, but millions of views on just one platform where people are looking at why is it that this is happening, and it has people talking about it, and it has people having a conversation about it. So, and that's what we need in this country, is to be able to have a conversation with one another so that we can come to an understanding of why these things happen. Not that they're happening, or not what would happen if they go through with this, but what came about to make this happen, right? And that does turn political, but it's part of our lives as well. Whether we want to think about it or not, it is somewhat political what's going on with the trucker strike. So what do you got to say about that, Gray? Hey, make sure that you make your answer to my question at least 10 seconds longer than my answer to your question.
Well, I just want to start out by saying, what this day and age isn't political, man. It's like, no matter what you talk about, what situation arises, no matter what it is, it could be, oh, I'm doing a video about food storage, and somehow someone will twist it and say, oh, you're one of those right-wing crazy prepper people. And I'm like, man, can't I just, put some food in the pantry, man, for an emergency without being called some sort of different name? But I agree with you in the aspect that it's hopefully, by this conversation being started, by it being broadcast on news channels, YouTubes, and other social media platforms, that people can see that something can and will happen with certain situations on a dime. Imagine the truckers, behind closed doors, they had this meeting, and kind of, because they're CBs, that's basically how the word was spreading being truckers. From what some of the videos that I saw were, talking on CBs, they were mad about something. They all banded together. They all had this vision. And if it was to transpire like how we're thinking of it, how it's being pushed in regards to cutting off everything off from New York, because basically what doesn't come on a truck? I mean, there's things that come on a plane and trains, and I get that, but the trucking industry itself provides the majority of goods to most places, because sure, at a major airport, UPS or whatever parcel service is delivering stuff over there, but the trucks bring it into the smaller boroughs and, local municipalities and whatnot. So no matter what, trucks are involved. Can it do something? Yes. Will it do something? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just still, like you said, the conversation is, and hopefully people will kind of listen to that and think, wow, if we all banded together on a specific situation, how much power we, the people, actually truly have. That's how I feel about it.
Right. Right. Man, I was going to say something that sounded smart too, and I forgot. I see now it got the best of me.
You gotta raise your hand so I can see you.
Let's see. Just how you doing, Linda Bob? Good to see you. Okay.
If it happens,
Nishka, how are you doing, Nishka? Good to see you. Rants are awesome.
I think Forrest said that too. He loves rants. And I see a chat right there. It says if it can happen to a billionaire like Trump,
that's right.
It can happen to anybody.
100%. I was just going to mention that too. That what people don't understand is that, just like who was that? Oh man, Bel Air Babe. What people don't understand is 100% true. One day it's going to happen to you what you're asking for. Look at the brown coats, right? During World War II, right? In Germany, the brown coats were the people that the little guy with the mustache, they were the people that they used in order to enforce their quasi laws, I guess you can say, or their fiat laws that they made, right? And then what happened to the brown coats, Gray? Do you remember?
They were eliminated by the person that put them in charge. By the little guy with the mustache.
By the little guy with the mustache. He created a regiment called the letter S, followed by the letter S. And they were used to eliminate the useful idiots, i.e. the brown coats. So all of these people that are pretty much in a cult, because this is really a cult. This thing, when you can't have a conversation with someone, is because they're like in a cult. They scream you down. They scream. They don't want to hear what you have to say, right? All of these people, they're useful idiots. And we have to be able to have a conversation, because one day someone may be in power that doesn't like the useful idiots. And then what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Is that how it goes? Something like that?
No, I agree.
Not that I would agree with it. I would not agree with our government. I would not agree with our government doing to the side that maybe a lot of people don't agree with, to what they're doing now. All right. To Donald Trump. I would not agree with someone in government doing that to someone that I did not like just because of their position. Right? I would not agree with that, because that's just not right. We have to be able to listen to each other and talk to each other. But there's one side that just will not listen and will not talk. All they do, in my opinion, is project. They project and they scream really loud, and they think that gets things done. In a way, it's gotten things done for a long time, but I think that time is over. It's time to pay the piper, as they say.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. It's I watch, certain pundits and news media outlets and stuff like that, and just seeing how everything is playing out leading up to what's going on in the world and what's going on here in the United States, it just blows me away that we're seeing things that have never happened in this country ever over the last couple of years. It's insane, man. Oh God. Making me think about, so independent companies, right? So as a company, you can make your own rules, right?
Hey, Gray, I'm sorry. Did I say gray shirts or brown shirts?
I thought you said brown shirts.
Oh, if I said gray shirts, I meant brown shirts. I could have said gray shirts. I don't remember.
I don't know if you want to catch
But
that
go ahead.
super
I'm
chat.
sorry, man. I just wanted to make sure I corrected that. But go ahead, brother.
No, before I continue, you want to catch that super chat real quick by Our Health?
No, we'll catch it after you're
Okay.
after you're done.
Is like independent companies during the the whole thing in 2020, a lot of companies did a lot of crazy things to their employees, right?
Yeah.
And I just read an article, and I wanted to share it with you and the viewers. It's almost like an invasion of privacy. This is how I feel about it. It says Walmart, Delta, T-Mobile, Chevron, Starbucks, Nestle, AstraZeneca are using AI to monitor employee messages, man, for misinformation and a bunch of other stuff like that. I don't see how that's right. If you're using, let's say, some sort of, I get it, it's the company's property, and you're using their systems to communicate with other employees and stuff like that. But I just don't. I think certain things need to be left to the people, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? I just, and they're they're using AI technology to do this. So whatever AI decides to flag is what's going to either incorporate to people losing their jobs or possibly criminal charges down the road for whatever, because they feel a certain way about a specific thing, be it internally through the company or maybe outside their political views or whatnot. I just still think it's wrong, personally.
Well, Gray, what I have to say about that is that freedom makes it to where we cannot, we can complain about that, what you're talking about Walmart and stuff. But what it comes down to is that they are a private company. Okay.
I understand that.
Now we've gone so far in this nation and making government so big that in a way you can say that Walmart's not a private company, right? Because the government allows Walmart to win. So you see, during the 2020 thing, during that health crisis, the government picked its top players that it wanted to win: Walmart, Costco, Home Depot, Lowe's, all of these places, right? Where that bug didn't go in. It didn't go into those places, right? That bug that was interrupting everyone's lives during that time. And you understand, ladies and gentlemen, that we have to talk like this in code sometimes, right? But it didn't know any better that they weren't allowed to go into those places. But the government allowed these places to win over the little shops, over the mom and pop shops that had to close down because the bug did go in there. You see, the bugs like to slum. They like to go into the poor places, but not into the big rich places, right? But anyways, I digress on that part. But so I'm just trying to say that even though they're a private company, with the way that the government and its crony politicians act, in a way, it's like it's not a private company because the government is allowing it to win over everyone else using our tax dollars so that we can lose and the big guys can win. But having said that, what we have to do with those kinds of businesses is the same thing that the truckers are doing with New York. They don't like the way that they're operating. So what are they doing? They're revolting. That's the same thing that the people from Walmart and all these places need to do, is to come together. And we are so divided that I don't see that happening. In the trucker community, I can understand why, because the trucker community is blue collar. That's blue collar work. And these guys are a very tight-knit community. And by the way, it's about 73 to 80% of everything that's transported in the United States is via trucks. Right. So that's 4/5 of everything that you touch in your life came in a truck from one way or another. Right. I would say that it's more than that, but that's the number that I got from the little tiny bit of research that I did.
Right.
So when we have to get tired enough of something happening to say we're not going to do this anymore. So what if the employees of Walmart don't like that they're going to use AI to check their messages? Man, you know what? I know it's easy for me to say. I know it is, but just don't work there. Don't put up with it. If everyone got together and said, we're not going to do this, they would change. I guarantee it, because these people don't care about you. They care about money, because to them, money is power, right? To us poor people, money is just options, right? The more money you have, as a middle class or lower class, the more money you have, the more options you have. right? Instead of buying a pair of tennis shoes for $10 that'll last you 2 months, you can buy a pair of tennis shoes for $110 that'll last you 2 years, right? It gives you options for us. But for them, people that are billionaires, multi-hundred millionaires or billionaires, for them, it's not about more options. There's only so many pieces of ribeye you can have. There's only so many levels of ribeye that you can go up the ladder before you just can't get any better than what you already have, right? So for them, it's more about power and control after a certain period of time. Let me go ahead and grab this guy real quick. Whoa, look at this. Margarita says, write your legislative for laws against the Second Amendment. In a perfect world, I would say yes, right? Yes, and we should do that just to be a pain in their butt. But I've done that a few times, and the last time I did that, it was here. And I won't mention the gentleman's name because he's passed on since. But I wrote him about Second Amendment, and I wrote him about it back when Trump was in office, and he signed that red flag law, right, which is 100% unconstitutional, right?
Agreed.
And all I got back was a what do you call it? A pre-written letter. It was a pre-written letter saying, "Oh, thank you very much for contacting me. I'll be looking into the matter that you wrote me about." Blah 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 blah. Never heard from him again. Kind of like threw me off there, saying, these people don't care, and I honestly don't think that they do. The majority, I think that some of them do. But R. Heath, how are you? And thank you, R. Heath. It's a great tactic to explain to the criminals in charge that if they weaponize the justice system, we have systems we can weaponize too. That is great. And that's what we ought to do. As a free citizenry, we ought to be able to exercise anything that's within the law to get our point across. And I think that boycotts are a great thing. Look at the civil rights, or the civil rights movement back in the late 50s, early 60s, I believe. What was one of the things that they boycotted, Gray, if you remember, that really worked well? They boycotted buses. They said, we are no longer going to take the bus, right? We're no longer going to take the bus. And it worked. And that's what we have to do. We have to get together. But we have to be in the same boat in order to be able to make change. How you doing, Mario?
Sorry, something that caught my attention for a second. Shit, I lost my thought, man.
Close enough. All right.
Yeah, it's, folks, sometimes even in my videos, and I know Rudy goes through it too, sometimes when we do standalone videos, we're just talking and our mind has so many things going in it. Sometimes we'll mispronounce or say something a little off or weird.
Do it all the time.
Apologize. It's just life, man. It's just, there's nothing
I do it all the time, man.
And people will harp on me in the comment section. I'm like, man, I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm assuming that they've also made that mistake in their life at one point or another,
Is that true right there?
There's a $1,000 fine for unregistered gun. Thanks, call legislator, for collecting those funds for the illegals. Really? I wonder where that's at.
Oh my goodness! I'm sure that's in California.
Oh, it has to be.
Right? It sounds like it says thanks, Cal. I'm guessing that's California.
Oh yeah, thanks, Cal. Yeah, agreed. That's there's some gun legislation going through here in Florida now. Florida is trying to bring the law back down to 18 years old for long guns, because back when Rick Scott, now who's changed his stance on it, of course, moved it up to 21 when that shooting happened. I think it was the Parkland shooting. So there's a bunch of people trying to push legislation this way and that way, and it's a whole Second Amendment thing down here in Florida going on.
You know what? It's disgusting, really. You know that? You want me to tell you a little story, Gray?
Go ahead, man.
All right. So when I was in Afghanistan, deployed in Afghanistan, obviously, that downrange, you can't drink alcohol. Okay? So I'm just going to tell you a hypothetical story. All right. So this really didn't happen. Okay. So my unit, I was with an infantry unit, and we were outside the wire, I would say 95% of the time, if not more. We used to come inside the wire, inside a fob, either a fob or a district center, once a month to refit, to get MREs, to get fresh water, whatever, right? To to go take a hot shower, whatever. We used to come in like once a month. If we were lucky, something would go wrong with one of our pieces of equipment, or Humvee or radio and something like that, and they put us in front of the line and get us out of there in 2 days, right? So once in a while we got lucky that something broke. And anyways, I remember walking into a tent once. Whoa. Oh, just a sec. Hey, just a second. All right. Hey, remember what I'm talking about in case I forget.
Oh boy, Rudy's hilarious, isn't he, folks? So I guess this might be a shameless plug while we're here just looking at my face on the big screen here. Is I've gotten some on my channel, I've gotten some folks that have asked. It was very hard to find you, Gray. They had to type in my name and stuff like that. But the moderators, if you guys pay attention to the moderators share a lot of folks' links, like myself and stuff like that. If anything, I'll have Rudy start to put a link somewhere in the description if for you folks that can't have trouble finding me personally. All right, go ahead, Rudy, with your.
Hey, here. I just wanted to look, poo poo. I just want to.
Oh, you snuck in there, huh?
Quick. Huh?
Snuck in there, huh? Or is he hanging out with you tonight?
No, my daughter brought her by to show her out because so many people want to see her. Look, Lulu, looky. You want to do Lulu? Look at me. I don't know if she's gonna do it or not, but check this out. Lulu, kissy. Lulu, kissy. Okay. All right, I'll be right back.
All right. Gotta love it. See, just imagine if we did videos with just dogs and kittens and stuff like that. We get millions of views. But some of the topics that we discuss for some reason get suppressed just because it's how the things works, unfortunately. But anyways, folks, yeah, if it's, what was I going to try to say? Now I lost my train of thought. I was thinking about.
Sorry, man. I messed it up. I
was thinking I was going to say, and I was thinking of the dog, and then I got lost track because I was thinking about my dog, and I just bought dog food, and yeah, squirrel. Anyways, you were talking about your forward operating base.
Yes. Yep. I remember now. So we're talking about this, and it came about that 21-year-old law, whatever, for guns and for alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
And for cigarettes, too, in some places.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So anyways, I'm walking into a tent, right? A shoe. That's what they call it back then. A shoe is like a hard tent. It's like a container. That's what they call it. Container housing unit. Shoe is what we call them. But anyways, I walk in there, right? And I see some of my buddies. And I can picture this right now, like if it would happening in front of me right now. And I see some of my buddies, and they got a care package from one of our buddies that had gotten out of the Army. And that care package, you know what it had in it, Gray? It had beer in it. It had Guinness, right? And they're drinking this Guinness. And all of these guys, they're all 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old. There was not one person there who was 21, except for me. I was the old man in the group, right? And the first thing I was like, man, you guys are drinking alcohol? Because they offered me some, and I've never really been a big drinker. So I said, no, thanks. But I didn't say anything. They drank their alcohol. And I remember that every single time that I hear this nonsense about a law or whatever that's been passed or wants to be passed for someone that needs to be 21 years old to drink alcohol or smoke a cigarette or put in a dip or buy a firearm, that my buddies, two of those guys that were drinking that Guinness that night, they didn't make it home. They died for their country, right? Because their country said, you need to go over here. Oh, sorry, just a second. Their country said, you need to go over here so that you can take this brown man's life because we don't like them, right? So they said, okay, I'm going to go do it. Why? Because they've been propagandized, and a lot of us have, that if you love your country, you have to go and do this, okay? So they went over there and they did it, and they lost their life. But the ones that don't lose their life and they come back, they can't have a drink. They can't go and buy a firearm. And some of them now, in whatever state you may be in, can't even have a cigarette because they're not 21. And to me, that is disgusting that a government can not only ask, but in some cases tell you, you're going to go to war for me, or you're going to go to jail. You can't even have a drink in the country that you are supposed to be protecting. Anyways, I digress.
No, it's crazy. It's funny that you say that, here in Florida that happened, I think, a year or so ago. And the reason I know it's because it's in my industry, that the industry that I work in. And federal law came down that you got to be 21 years old for a tobacco product or something to that extent. And Florida paused on that for about a year and defied federal law and created their own law. Now, it wasn't perfect, but they did put a clause into the federal law for state law that said if you were active service or in the military in general, that you can still be 18 to 20 and still purchase a tobacco product if you wanted it. So kudos to DeSantis
Wow,
for,
imagine that.
yeah.
Imagine, you know what I think would be better? I think that the state governors ought to have an advisor that is a constitutional scholar. Every state governor
idea.
ought to have a Judge Napolitano. Do you know who Judge Napolitano is?
Mm-hmm.
Every governor of every state of the union who wants to be a free state, right? Every governor ought to have a Judge Napolitano next to them. And when the federal government says A, B, or C, their Judge Napolitano can say constitutional, unconstitutional, unconstitutional. Then the governor can say yay, nay, and nay. That's what they ought to do, because
that's a great idea.
On the governors, it rests on the governors of our states, on our governors. This is my opinion. Our freedom rests on our governors and our law enforcement. That's where our freedoms rest on, because look at those states during the health crisis that said no. Those states remained open, their businesses thrived, and their fatality rate was lower than those states that went along to play along. All right, Gray? And it was because of those states' governors that they either played ball or they said, no, we're going to do our thing. I think we're going to stay free instead. It was up to the state governors. So it's up to the state governors and up to law enforcement.
I live in one of those states where they said no. And a lot of people moved here because of that fact. It's kind of funny. Yeah. I've talked to people like, hey, they're from this place. I'm like, why'd you move here? Like, oh, back in 2021, I couldn't take it anymore. You guys didn't have any, you guys were allowed to go eat and go do this and go to the beach and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, it was a benefit.
Imagine that you were allowed. Isn't that
that's the key word, is allowed.
Man, that ticks me off, man. When this thing first started off, back in 2020, I was very careful. I didn't know what it was, but then I spoke to someone who'd been in the medical industry for his entire life, or his entire career. And he said, man, this is this, and that. Don't do this. I'm like, really? Then I went ahead and did a little bit of research. And you know what? When I went to Amazon and I took a look at a box of face diapers, and it said, pretty much paraphrasing, this doesn't protect you against anything. I'm like, he's right.
It's funny you say that. So my buddy, a buddy in arms, you could say, he was pararescue in the Air Force. And when he got out, he's a nurse now, and he was in Georgia, and he was on a Charlie Victor, a wing taking care of those patients. And I said, what are you seeing? What are you doing? What's going on specifically? Because he was dealing with it daily, you know what I mean? On the front lines. And he said he put it down like black and white to me. And I'm like, wow. So everything we're seeing on the news is BS. And he's like, absolutely. He said, don't listen to that. Don't listen to this. And I was shocked. I was shocked by the information he was feeding me, because I trust him. You know what I mean? He's a very good friend of mine, and he served his country in a form that some folks don't. And the information was just like gold. You know what I mean? So I agree exactly with you and the information that you received too, because you're probably getting fed some of the similar information.
Yeah. Let's see. Not a banned account. Will Trump be brought to justice before election? I hope so. Not a banned account. I hope that Trump gets the justice that he deserves and has all of these indictments against him dropped, has all of the people that have colluded with Russia against him, put them in jail. I hope that Trump is vindicated and that all of the money that has been stolen from him, being that he's the only president in my entire lifetime that when coming out of office, he was 33% poorer than going in. I hope that those people that lied in order to try to put him in jail, I hope they get prosecuted, and I hope that their livelihoods get taken from them, because that is justice. And I hope that Trump does get the justice that he deserves. And my friend, I'm not political, but I have eyes and I can see. Right? You want to believe one side or the other? Go ahead. I believe what I can see with my eyes. Let me just tell you a couple of the things that I can see with my eyes. I can see that during the presidency, and I know you're not supposed to say this on YouTube, so be it. I know that during the presidency of Donald J. Trump, that we didn't engage in any new wars. During his presidency, I heard it more than once. Oh my goodness, how can that man have the codes to the nuclear warheads? And look at what's happening now. We've never been closer to nuclear war since back when Kennedy was in office. I can see with my eyes that during his presidency, there was peace in the Middle East. And now look at the Middle East. Look at how many lives, innocent lives, are being taken. So yes, I hope to the good Lord that Donald Trump gets the justice that he deserves, and that all of the pieces of scum that have sold this country down the line go to jail for treason and get exactly what they deserve for taking advantage of the people that they swore to protect, and the Constitution that they took an oath to, and instead hoard themselves out for money. I know I got excited, but ladies and gentlemen, it's the truth. Anyone that cannot see with their eyes what I just said does not want to tell themselves the truth. All you have to do is look. And I digress, Greg. Dre, don't get me started like that again, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me started like that again, because I want the live stream to go on.
Yeah, preach, brother, man. I mean, you're absolutely right, man. I watched, I sat through that Tucker Carlson interview, and then I also watched the follow-up interview that he did in the, I think it's somewhere in, I don't know if it was Saudi Arabia or United Emirates, the follow-up interview. And there was a lot of solid information in there. And the funny thing is Putin himself said, I personally prefer Biden in office. And people thought that Trump and Putin were like, hand in hand. And I'm like, man, see, you guys are idiots for believing the media. That's a master propaganda machine that feeds you all the crap. No matter what side you're on, they just feed you this stuff, and people are like, okay. Like, bro, do your own research, dig deeper. There's always money and power behind every push. And it's a news cycle. Everything's a news cycle. And you're absolutely right. He was doing a lot. I mean, people always ask me, well, what do you think? And I'm like, man, the economy was better. Everything seemed to be going pretty good. I was able to buy more preps, more food at a cheaper cost. Everything seemed to be moving in a positive direction outside of the crazy mass media, the, what do they call it? TDS people. And of course, the Soros-backed little guys in black hoodies and masks, out there in the West Coast, destroying federal property with no hindrance, with nothing happening.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Gray, is that everyone is putting all of their chips on Trump. Okay. And I understand why. It's because things are so bad. Right. And, but what I want to remind everyone of, and I don't want to be a downer, what I want to remind it, and no offense to Nostradamus, or I wasn't taking it on you. It's just that I think I've been wanting to say that for a long time. I just haven't had anyone ask the question. All right. But I want to remind people that it doesn't matter who comes into office, as far as this system by which we are governed imploding sooner or later. And that's why you have to be prepared. It doesn't matter how good things may look. All right. If this next election contest turns out the way that the polls suggest that it will turn out, it does not matter. There is still a lot of suffering to come. All right. So you have to continue to prepare, because mathematics does not lie, ladies and gentlemen. Our national debt will never go down. It will only go up. And if we do enter into a new financial system that will be good for the people, i.e. a gold-backed currency, it will be a very, very, harsh or a very challenging transition. People will be very upset at first. Take a look at Argentina and the new president of Argentina that pretty much told this country what they needed to know. He said, we are broke. We need to devalue our currency in order to get out of this mess. We need to cut this, and this department. He cut like 70% of the governmental departments. All right. He told them he was going to do this before he got elected. He gets elected. He does it. They're protesting against him. Why? Because it's painful. In order for us to do the right thing and get on the right path, we are going to have to experience a lot of pain. And people are not going to like it. Why? Because they've been used to this system for so long. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So remember that, all right? One of the reasons why I feel that the Donald, the Orange Man Bad, would be a good suit for what's coming is that hopefully the system will collapse when he's in office. Why? From what I know, he's a builder. He's a businessman. He knows about money. So he should be able to, handle that transition without turning over our sovereignty to a non-elected NGO or non-elected government organization like the UN. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I think that he would do a good job, is because he's got a lifetime of experience in building and with money. Are there things that I don't like that the Orange Man Bad did while he was in office? There's a whole bunch of things, and I can go into all of those things, but does it really matter? What matters is that we understand that no matter what, we need to stay prepared for what's coming, because it doesn't matter who comes into office. We're going to feel a lot of pain. How many weeks do you think that New York City goes into civil war? Well, you know what? I was talking about that here earlier today, not on this live stream, but yeah, take America back from Israel. I believe it. I believe you. This has all been planned. I do believe it. I'm not being sarcastic. Nothing happens by happenstance. It really doesn't. Nothing happens by happenstance. And that is why it's so important that we have the internet, that we have social media, so that we can spread the word, and so that a lot of people can, be able to make up their own mind. And hopefully we can come to a conclusion that we, the people, have one common enemy, and that is government. That is the system, which is government. All right. So I agree with you in that form. Right. It's not that we're getting got, but what do we do? What do we do? Become an anarchist, form of a country? Is that what we do? I don't know. Maybe that would work. So, I mean, I don't know. What's the solution? Tell us what your solution is. I'll put it all in caps so I can catch it. But anyways, I was talking about New York. I don't think there's going to be civil war in New York. I mean, and when you really think about it, if shipments stop going into New York for X number of days, New York has a National Guard. They have 88 mics?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Truck drivers. They'll get their National Guard up. They'll talk to Virginia. They'll talk to whatever other states are around there. They'll get their National Guard up. They'll get the trucks on the road if they have to, in order to transport whatever they need, in order to, at the minimum, keep their infrastructure running. Okay, so I don't think it's going to be civil war within them, or that it's going to be chaos in there or anything like that. The reason that I put up the video that I did earlier today is to get people thinking, especially those people that live in what I call concrete jungles, like cities that really don't produce anything for themselves, but import everything that they need in order to live, i.e. water, energy, food, medical, all that kind of stuff, all those supplies. To get them thinking, hey, do you live in one of these? Are you prepared to stay home for a week or a month? If you have to stay home for a week or a month and not go anywhere and still have everything you need. Right. That was more for like a thought experiment. But I think that if it gets really, really bad, that the people of New York City are going to suffer, but it's not going to be, like a civil war or anything like that. At least I hope not. Okay. I really hope not. Some people may say, well, they brought this upon themselves. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've all seen how government acts. They tell you one thing and they do the other. But anyways, I think that if the worst comes to be with New York and getting their supplies brought in, I think that they'll put the National Guard to work and start using them to do supply runs to keep the infrastructure running, i.e. food, water, medicine, things like that. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens going forward, because I believe, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that they're talking about doing this for like 3 years, not bringing anything into New York for like 3 years. That's a really long time.
Yeah, that's the chatter. That's the chatter going on in regards to that development. I'm just sitting there reading through comments, and some people are fired up. And some that's a good point. They could do that too. I mean, you never know. So someone was talking about they might freeze their accounts and stuff like that, like they did in Canada. Who knows? Who knows what the federal government
They can
will
do whatever
do?
they want to do.
Pretty much, man. I was seeing something here that it's like the current administration likes to stoke the fire. Like I was reading an article today in regards to uh, Corn Pop sending long range missiles over to Ukraine so that they had the capability to strike Crimea, which is just going to stoke the fire even more and lead to more casualties, more death, more of this, more of that. You know what I mean? And it's like we are like the war machine. You know what I mean? It's just never going to stop unless there's like there's some key players in there. But you know, war is money, right?
Hey, Gray, real quick. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, there's no reason that we have to disrespect each other, right? We can be grown-ups, right? Only because you're behind a computer screen and nobody can see your face and stuff like that. I'm talking about like the comments. There's no reason why you have to disrespect each other, right? So one of the reasons why our nation is in the state in which it's in, and obviously I don't know what country everyone here is from, but you know what I mean. One of the reasons why is because we have lost the ability to have a conversation with each other. And for anyone here on the comments, or even me or Gray, if we just shout each other down and just insult each other so that you can get a rise out of someone, that's not going to really fix anything. So just have a little bit of respect for one another, you know, on the comments. You don't have to be fighting with one another. You can just respectfully disagree. That's all. If you don't agree with something someone is saying and you're trying to convince them to agree with you, that's great. That's what we need, interaction like that. But if you come to a point where you respectfully disagree, there's nothing wrong with that either. So what I'm saying is just be adults, right?
We as Americans, we always talk about, you know, the Constitution and stuff like that, and freedom of speech is a thing, and that's people should have that capability to like have a conversation, but not like you said. It's I hate the fact that people have to either get derogatory or downright personal and stuff like that. Like, why can't we just have an intellectual conversation, whether you agree or disagree with the topic or situation or with someone else? You know, those are the smart folks that the conversations I have in my place of business. I get people with green hair and skinny jeans that come in there and they see me with like a shirt like this, and they make this assumption. But as soon as they talk to me, I'm a person that you can talk to no matter how you feel about certain things, and I can have a conversation with you. I'm not going to beat you down with this or beat you down with that. I'll give you my points, you give me your points, and hey, we part as friends or whatever. You know what I mean? I just don't understand why everybody, if the world would be more agreeable with working with each other and be able to talk things out versus just like, oh, you said this, I hate you, and just end it there. You know what I mean? I just don't understand that. But I guess that's America these days, right, brother?
Oh no, I mean, you know, there's going to be someone asked. I don't remember who it was, but someone said, "Do you think enough people will wake up?" Yes, indeed. Eventually, enough people will wake up. The problem with that eventuality is that usually, if you look at history, that's when it's gone too far. That's when the average person says, "I can't live like this." You know, I rather fight on my feet, you know, than die on my knees. Usually that's how it goes, right? So usually
Absolutely.
that's when the majority of people wake up. But by that time, the pain has started and it's only going to get worse. And when I say pain, ladies and gentlemen, I mean the disruption of your standard of living. All right, that's what I mean by pain. By that, there's so much control over your everyday life that you're not living your own life. I mean, we barely are now. All of the regulations that there are that we have to follow is that pretty much everything you do every single day, you would either have had to have asked permission to do and or paid a fee to do it. Even if you just stay home, one of those two things you would have to have asked or done in order to do anything that you want to do and throughout the day. So there will come a time where people just can't take it anymore. And throughout history, whenever that happens, that's when the people finally get together. They realize who the enemy is, but then there's going to be a lot of bloodshed before a new system evolves. Let's hope that this time around will be different. I just don't think that it will be because it never has been in the past.
Man, Rudy, we're at 49 minutes, man.
Incredible, brother.
It's been a heated discussion. And whenever we talk certain things, I remember when I used to do the Sunday shift report, people would get dang near irate.
Yeah.
And it made me think of when you were talking earlier about the face diapers. Someone literally said, "I'm unsubscribing. You talk too much about making fun of people wearing those things." And I was like, "It's just my personal opinion. It's just something I'm sharing because it's just my personal opinion, man."
Okay. I mean, all right, Gray, I hope that you survive that.
I'm still here.
I hope that you survive that comment and that that you have to go to counseling. I mean, did you really need to know that? That's my thing. I'm not trying to be an ass. Excuse my French, but that's my thing. Like, did I really need to know that? Go ahead, unsubscribe. I mean, what do you want? Like, okay, Gray, I'm unsubscribing because I don't like your mustache today. Okay, so what do I want you to do? What do you want me to do? Right? Like that's the beautiful thing about YouTube is that you have a million different personalities on there, right? And you get to subscribe or unsubscribe or like or not like or report if you have nothing better to do, anyone that you want on there, right? So it's a great thing. But I mean, it's like, why do you need to advertise it? Just leave.
Nobody forces you to click and watch something and sit here for the duration. You know what I mean? No one is making you. No one's holding you like, no, you're going to watch this. You have to type this. Like, man, if you don't like something, just go away.
Man, I shouldn't have brought up that mask thing. I see a lot of people talking about it. Let's see. Lord Drag the Red. Thank you. 1000%. Take America back as Americans. Leaders fail. The heart of America is the absolute key for Take America Back ideology. The roots feed the tree. I have to say that I agree. The roots feed the tree, and what I believe you mean by that, Lord, I'll call you Lord, is that it's from the bottom up, right? It's from we the people. We are the roots. We are the ones that give the tree what it needs in order to survive. So we can withhold that at any time because we the little people, we are the masters. We really are. And people just don't understand that. Think about this, Gray. 537. What does that number represent to you?
Sorry, I was reading the comment.
Well, let me ask you again. 537. What does that number represent to you? 537.
537.
Yes. Okay. So 537 is the 435 in Congress, the 100 in the Senate, and the 2 that are in the White House. Those are the people that we, the people, have elected to represent us. And we are 300 million strong, 300 million plus strong. Who the hell do you think has the power? We do, but we don't understand that. At least as a collective, we don't understand that we have the power. And I have to give the 537, I have to give them a lot of credit because they've done a great job over the last several decades in keeping us divided. You know why, Gray? Because I'm not supposed to like you if you're Cuban, or I'm not supposed to like you if you're white, or I'm not supposed to like you if you're black, or whatever religion you are. I'm not supposed to like you if you're that. We're not supposed to like each other. If you're a woman, I don't want nothing to do with you, you feminist. Right? That's why we're not supposed to like each other for every single reason that there is. You can pick any reason that you want. And for that reason, we're not supposed to like each other. Why? Because our government tells that not only through their mouthpieces, but through the mouthpiece of the legacy media, through the mouthpiece of Hollywood, through the mouthpiece of the NBA, right? The NFL, et cetera, et cetera. They tell us that we're not supposed to like each other, but instead that we're supposed to hate each other because we're different. And that difference in who we are is what's made this country what it is. We are the melting pot of the world. All we ask is that if you come here, you come through the front door and do it right. Right?
Absolutely.
But they've done a great job at keeping us divided. And until we realize that together we are stronger, together we are. There should be nothing else after that. Like, together we are stronger. No, there should be nothing else after that. It should be together we are. period. Once we realize that, man, nothing can stand in our way. Let's see. Rainy.
You know, I like the side of you, Rudy.
Thank you very
I
much,
like the
Rainy.
side of you.
Well, you know what? It's come to a point, Gray, where we have to just talk the talk, man. We have to talk it. And people have to, you know, if people listen, the more that listen, the better. Because we're coming to an inflection point in the history of this nation. We really are. You know,
I agree.
Whatever happens in November, we're coming to an inflection point. And we're going to have to be prepared, ladies and gentlemen, to be able to survive what's coming for the next, I would say, and I know some people are like, that long? Yes, for about the next 8 to 9 years. It's going to be about another 8 to 9 years of chaos and crisis. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's how long it's going to be. If you study cycles, it's going to be about another 8 to 9 years of chaos and crisis. We will have times or periods of respite where we may have a few months, 6 months, something like that, where things seem okay. And then something else will happen. I think that whenever you see something big happening, take a look at what's going on behind the scenes in the Federal Reserve, national debt, our Social Security. Take a look at what's going behind the scenes in those things that we are so indebted that there's nothing that we can do because it's going to collapse. Usually when something like that is coming to an inflection point, something big happens that allows the Federal Reserve to have a good reason to print trillions of dollars out of thin air, effectively diminishing the value of those dollars that you've already worked for. Oh, good. Look, Gray, that's good. You see?
I love grit and grace.
That's good.
I mean, I mean, I can flip the topic and make you go down another direction.
Yeah, hey, whatever you want to do, bro. Hey, thank you very much again, Lord. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate all the support.
Because I see another topic. Like I said, I don't know how long. I know I got at least until 8:15.
Hey, let's take it away, man. Well, let me go ahead and catch. You know, I don't even know how many super chats there are, but let me go ahead and catch any that I might have missed. Okay, just one. Okay, so let's say exactly AP. If we all were the same, this world. Oh yeah, this world would be very boring. Imagine how boring of a world this would be if we were all the same. Man, if we were all the same, I'd rather all of us be like Gray. All right, because this would be a messed up world if we were all like me.
Oh, you're making me think of that movie 1984, man. Everybody's all the same, man. Everything's all gray, man. But I know this topic here, you love this topic because it has to do with inflation.
Well, let's see how much I love it.
It says U.S. wholesale inflation accelerated in January, and the latest sign that prices picked up last month. So guess what, folks? Prices on food and wholesale items are going to go back. They're going up again.
Well, brother, it's like I've been saying it for years. Inflation only has one way to go, and that's up. Try to understand this, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Try to understand that the financial system by which we are governed is a debt-based financial system. Okay. Meaning that I don't even have a dollar on me. Meaning that a Federal Reserve note, be it a $1 bill, 5, 10, 20, 100, a Federal Reserve note is not money and it's not currency. It's fiat currency, which means that it is debt. A Federal Reserve note is nothing than a promissory note. It is debt. And in order for this debt-based system that's based on fiat currency to continue to exist, the debt has to continuously grow. If the debt stops growing, then what's going to happen is that the system will unravel and implode on itself. So inflation, i.e., the creation of new money to inject into the system, has to continually grow. It has to continually go up, right? It doesn't mean that inflation will continually go up and up and up and up, but meaning that inflation, as the debt goes, because inflation is the addition of money into the currency or fiat into the system, it has to continue to grow. Our debt has to continue to grow. All right. So inflation will continue to go up forever as long as this monetary system still exists. And that's all there's to it. If you don't protect yourself, then all you're doing is allowing the government to confiscate the labor that you put into the fiat currency that you were paid for years ago. They're confiscating that labor right from under you.
I figured that would be something that you would enjoy. It's it's just a constant thing. I just saw someone wrote, I forget where I saw it. It was up here that the Federal Reserve said something about inflation. Where was it? I'm trying to bounce back here.
I'm going to try to find that clip and put it on tomorrow's video. It was some bankers. If they're talking about the same clip that I saw a clip where some bankers from a central bank, I forgot what country it was from. It wasn't from the US, but they were laughing about how people don't even know what inflation is. They were laughing about it.
I think I remember that clip as well.
Yeah. So here, OUPES says pure treasonous government. Indeed it is. And I do believe that our founders had stated that it should be a treasonous act to treat anything other than gold and silver as money. But I guess that doesn't apply to this era in which we live.
Yeah, I was trying to find it. I couldn't see it. But yeah, man, it's it's crazy. Another thing I've noticed that's been popping up in the news a lot over the last couple of years that people are kind of not paying attention to. Me and you discussed this, a lot of other channels have discussed this, is do you notice that, remember, was it last year, every time you turned around, something was blowing up, be it a house, be it a farm,
a lot of fires, a lot of fires for food processing plants.
And it's still happening. I recently watched, I guess, Phillips 66 refinery in Billings, Montana, massive fire. And I'm going to go a little bit conspiratorial on you, Rudy. I've always wondered, all these explosions and fires and derailments and all the other crazy things around that we're seeing, are they just something that's just happening and we just not notice it because we're now noticing it more because we're connected, through social media? Or is there something at play? I missed, you know what I mean? Like, I always think about what's happening at the southern border and all the people that are coming through, and is that a possibility?
That right there, no, that stuff that's happening at the southern border is unprecedented. That's not something that's been happening forever, and we just notice now because of social media. No, that's unprecedented. When you're talking about 300,000, 400,000 people being interdicted at the southern border in 1 month, in the month of December, that's the most ever in history. Now you have to think about how many got away. That's 400,000 interdicted that were actually, processed. How many got away? All right. So that's unprecedented. All of these other things that happen, Gray, that's a great question. And I just have to say, I don't know. I mean, social media, in a way, it's a great thing, and in a way it's not. But I think that overall it's better for freedom than not. Because think of all the lies that we've been told in the past before we were able to have citizen journalists out there posting stuff on YouTube, on Twitter or X, whatever it is, and all these other social media accounts that, think of all of those people that were saved because they were streaming when they got pulled over by a law enforcement officer that maybe wasn't on the up and up. Think about all of I think overall it's a good thing for humanity, but the thing with humans is that we always find a way to turn a good thing into bad. It is just the way it is. It's not funny, but it's just the way that we are as humans.
I even have some statistics here. It says Chinese migrant encounters are at 4,000%. They encountered 450 in 2021 and over 20,000 plus in 2023. 4,000% up. That's insane, brother.
Yeah, that's a 40x. That's a 40x. That's ridiculous. I mean, Gray, and anyone that doesn't believe that we have sleeper cells within the United States of America ready to conduct whatever business it is that their home country wants them to do is pretty ignorant, I believe. I'm not trying to say anything negative about anyone, but all you have to do is think about it. What a great opportunity this administration has given all of our foes to place people where they want them and have them do what they want them to do when the time comes that we do something that they don't agree with. Taiwan is gone. There is absolutely no way that we will protect that island. No way. for a few reasons. Not just because China has sleeper cells in the U.S. in every state, not just because of that, but because the that Chinese government, they own this administration. You know how many people in this administration they own? Not just from one side, right? Not just from the Democrat Party, but from both parties. They own so many people. What do I mean by they own them? Well, use your imagination. Look at the list of people that has not been disclosed fully from the trips that they took on an airplane to a certain island. Well, same thing with China, ladies and gentlemen. They invite these people over there, all right? They party them up, they drug them up or give them alcohol or whatever. They do these things that they don't want anyone to know about, and they end up selling out their country. That's what happens. They've sold us out. That's all. And it's just a fact of the matter. It's not something that I'm saying to be hyperbolic. It's not something that I'm saying because I want it to be true. It's not something that I'm saying because I hate this nation. I don't. I'm saying it because I love this nation and I want it to get fixed. But the people, the majority, not all right? I understand there are some very good patriots in office right now, in Congress and the Senate, some very good patriots, right? But I believe that the majority of those that are serving in Congress and the Senate, that they sold out this nation. Either they sold it out for money or they're being bribed or blackmailed or whatever, but they've sold us out.
Sorry, my daughter.
No. Do what you got to do, brother. I'm taking a look around here.
I was going to add to that one thing. I do have something that popped up. I guess with the current administration's new green energy plan could allow Chinese firms to extend their global monopoly and dominate the U.S. market. I saw that one pop up with solar energy and stuff like that.
Well, it's just like Israel was talking about before. It's all been planned. This has all been planned. I mean, we want to turn solar, and who makes most of the solar panels? China does. Imagine that. I mean, it's never going to happen. We as a world will never use primary solar and wind for our energy, unless there is a huge reduction in the population, right?
Yeah.
If there is a huge reduction in the population, if people go back to living like we lived in the 1800s, then maybe it's possible. But in order for us to maintain the standard of living that we have now across the world, it's impossible that we can ever go green. And it's impossible unless we do it with nuclear plants, right? With nuclear energy plants. That way, I believe. But heck, I think it takes like 20-something years to build a nuclear plant. Last time I heard, I mean, I could be wrong. So, I mean, it could be done with nuclear plants, energy plants, but it'd take a very long time. But it'll never be done with solar panels or windmills. And for those of you that think that I just hate solar panels, I love solar panels. I love them. I love my solar generators. I think they're a great complement to the grid, but a great complement to the grid, not a replacement for the grid.
Agreed.
And like I said, and like Israel said before, everything's planned. This has been planned, right? The downfall of the Western countries, of the Western world, has been planned. The plan of those who sit above us that think they're our masters, their plan is to turn all of the Western nations into third world nations. And how are they doing that? Really easy. They're using CO2. All right. They're using CO2 as the boogeyman so that we can give up our standard of living, pretty much for something that, in my opinion, is a hoax.
You got another super chat I saw popped up.
Well, here's a good question, though. L Arms, how long do solar panels last? Well, it depends. I guess the better they are, the longer they'll last. But last time I read, a set of solar panels will last anywhere between 20, 25 years. So they'll last a pretty long time. Now, obviously, their efficacy will diminish as the years go. So where you may have 80, 85% efficiency, which is really good. If you have a set of solar panels and they're giving you 80%, 85% efficiency, that's really, really good. Okay. So as the years go by, it may be lower and lower and lower, maybe come to a point where you're like, yeah, it's not worth keeping them anymore. But they'll last a long time as long as you protect them from the environment, i.e., like you don't let anything fall on them, stuff like that. I'm actually doing an experiment right now with some of the solar panels that I was sent. A couple of them from OUPES and a couple of them from another company, I forget their name, that sent me some last year. And I left them on top of my chicken coop, and I left a couple on top of this bunker through the winter with the snow and everything, to see if after the snow clears, to see if they work and see how well they work. So we'll see what happens here in the next 2 or 3 months. Let's see. Lord, thank you again. Test them. Asians tied to China cannot compare Xi Jinping to Winnie the Pooh. It is outlawed. Yeah, that's true. Operative cannot be caught saying that. Imagine that. But the thing is, it's true. They're not allowed to do that over there. They're not allowed to criticize their leaders, i.e. leaders.
Sorry, I got sidetracked, brother. My daughter.
Man, I keep seeing these great questions. Is being a bicycle mechanic a good skill to have in SHTF? I think being a bicycle mechanic in a third world nation, which is where we're turning to, is a great skill to have. All right, Milo? I think it's a great skill to have, because take a look at India. Take a look at China. There's a lot of people that ride bicycles in China. Same thing with India. Same thing in third world countries where people can't even afford motorcycles. Yeah, I think it's a great skill to have.
I mean, they're EMP proof.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's a good asset to have in a situation like that, man. You know what I mean? I always tell people everything out there, every skill is an asset to, let's say, to a situation that happens to arise in a SHTF scenario. Medical personnel, small engine repair, farmers, just all the people with the different skills, out there. If they can come together, you have more of an opportunity to survive a catastrophic situation.
Yep. Community.
Bob from accounting says bikes are the most underrated prep there is. I'm like, yeah, man. There's a lot of underrated preps. We could actually probably do a video on that, Rudy. Underrated.
I think I'm gonna be reviewing another e-bike as soon as the snow breaks.
I got one right. Where's it at? Right there that I got to review. It's sitting there.
I'll tell you what, man. I don't know if you saw that review that I did with the e-bike before snow. That little thing is pretty awesome. I'm really happy with it. Very happy. Yeah. I mean, I was very surprised because I'm a fat body, okay? And obviously, the more weight that you put on that e-bike, the less the range. Oh, that e-bike has and I forget the name of it. If you want to check it out, I do have a link of it in the description of my videos because I like it that much. But that e-bike comes with a battery that's like 1,000 watt-hours. And I was able to take it 10 miles round trip up and down hills. It's rated for like 30 miles or something like that. I was able to take it 10 miles and it used up about half of the battery, which means that if you weigh what you're supposed to weigh, all right, not like me, it probably takes you the 30 miles plus. So I was very impressed with that thing. And I mean, I think the top speed that I achieved on it on flat ground was like 34 miles an hour. Pretty awesome. Yeah, I was really happy with that thing.
Yeah, I can't see the name from here, but this one has a dual battery system, has a top range of 90 miles. 90 miles.
That's awesome. Very nice.
Yeah, I can't wait to play around with it. I'm sure. Some people are gonna, of course, when I do the review, some people are like, oh, that's too expensive. I get it. There's a lot of things that we review that are expensive, but if you have the financial capability, this might be something in your wheelhouse to have because it's very quiet. And I always kind of fall back to a story in regards to some of the apocalyptic books that I've read where, this is the only working car in the county and everybody hears it and everybody's going to attack you. Well, an e-bike runs kind of silent. So yeah, it's just one of those things.
Well, Emmanuel, how are you doing, brother? As asking, how is Poppy and the ladies doing? Well, the new alpha in the chicken coop is a transgender that turned from chicken to rooster. For real. When I first got the ladies and Poppy, I ended up getting Poppy was the only rooster, and one of the hens turned into a rooster. All right. And that rooster's name is Big Red. And Big Red is the alpha. Poppy cowers down to Big Red. Poppy is doing well. They don't fight, believe it or not. Big Red and Poppy do not fight. They both treat the ladies well, but Poppy is no longer the alpha. He doesn't even try to attack me anymore. I can go in there and stand right next to him. Oh, look at all the eggs. These are my eggs for the day right here. I think I got 6 of them or something like that. But anyways, Poppy, I can stand right next to him. He won't even peck at me or nothing. He is docile. And Big Red, which is a good thing. I got Big Red when he used to be a hen before he transferred over. And I got him when he was very young. So he's been used to me feeding him. Let me say feeding they. Big Red got used to me feeding they, them. And so he never attacked me. So he's very used to me. So it's a good thing. So they're all happy. They're all very well fed. I spoil them, man. My wife spoils them. We give them a whole bunch of stuff. On my way out today to the bunker, I gave them some ground beef that got a little bit of freezer burnt. So I just cut the edges off the ground beef before I cooked the burgers, and I gave it to them. And they're very happy. They're very well fed. And the winter's not been very harsh on them at all. Then, of course, I keep their chicken coop is insulated, and I keep it heated as well. But yeah, working out really good. Very, very happy that I got those chickens. Very happy because I haven't bought any eggs for our family. I don't know, for like the last 4 months, 5 months. I haven't bought any eggs. And about every other week when I see Victor and my grandson, I usually give them a couple of dozen eggs every time I see them. And we still have plenty. So yeah. Good deal, man. Good deal.
You just get the comments are just hilarious, man. The comments had me almost tears in my eyes, my friend.
About what? Oh, about they them?
Yeah.
About Big Red? Hey, don't be talking bad about Big Red, okay?
Oh, between Nostradamus and some of the other folks, man, it's just some lost. You gotta love it, man. Well, let me see.
Look at this one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, someone said Bud Light.
All right. Stop it, ladies. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your support. If you want to support the channel, Minds or Grace, take a look at the description of the videos. Take a look at the links, our affiliate links. If you're going to buy something from them anyways, use ours because it helps out. All right, because this live stream's probably been demonetized already. Probably. Let our regular videos play all the way through if you want to support what we do, because it really helps. Give them a like. And if you want to donate 15 to 30 seconds of your time, allow an ad or two to run through. Let it run to 30 seconds, then skip it. If it's more than 30 seconds long, that will credit the channel and allow the YouTube algorithm to say, hey, people are willing to spend 30 seconds watching an ad. It means that it's worth spreading this video to more people, recommending it to more people. So those things really, really do help, and they don't cost you anything except for a little bit of your time. So I do appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen, truly do. Let's see. L asked, do you keep your eggs out of the refrigerator, and for how long? I never put them in the refrigerator. I put eggs in the refrigerator a couple of times, and I'll tell you why in a second. But I never put them in the refrigerator. I never washed them until just before I'm going to use them. And we really don't keep any eggs for, I would say, more than 2 to 3 weeks at a time because we're always using them. So we're always rotating them and using them and giving them away to our son and stuff like that. The 2 or 3 times that I've put eggs in the refrigerator is, for example, let's say I go inside the chicken coop and I grab a couple of eggs and I put them in my pocket and one of them cracks. Well, if like one of them cracks because I put a 5 or 6 in my pocket, I take the one that cracked, I put it in the refrigerator, and the next time that we're going to have eggs, we take that one, we wash it, and then we use it. That way it doesn't go bad, right?
Yeah, I love farm fresh eggs, man. I mean, you can go almost. I think some people have them out for a month. I mean, I go through eggs too quickly for them to last a month.
No, hey, listen, my father, when I used to visit my father in Dominican Republic, he had a whole bunch of hens in his backyard, and he had so many eggs that he could not even give them away. It was so much that he used to collect, and he used to put them in a basket on his porch, all right, outside. And in the Dominican Republic, it gets hot. He never refrigerated them. They never went bad. They will last for months. As long as you don't wash them and wash that slimy film off of them. If it's got a little bit of chicken poop, deal with it. All right? Deal with it. But as long as you don't wash them and you can leave them on your counter, they'll last a pretty long time. Okay?
We've gone through all the topics that I have. I think that we're gonna
Are you
have to do
kidding
this.
me? Hey, you want to answer like 2 questions?
Yeah, I was gonna the ones that I have, or the ones in chat right now.
The ones that you have, and then the ones that are in chat right now. I guess the next time you can pick a couple of these. However you want to do it, man. You are the conductor. Okay, you're the conductor. I'm like you're the conductor of the train. I'm like that passenger that had one drink too many.
Oh, I always tell everybody if they have questions, I'll take them. They put them down in the comments after the live stream ends. I will pull those comments and we'll try to get to them. As you guys know, we don't usually always get to them, but we'll try to get to a couple each time. The list will probably grow. We got through like 5 or 6 last time. I have 9 here.
Oh, look at that, here. Man. It's Fat Man Prepper. How you doing, brother? I haven't seen you in a little bit. I like that comment. That's funny. Oh, goodness, man. Man, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I have a great time doing this, man. I have a great time. I really do appreciate everyone that comes and joins in during these live streams. And of course, I appreciate you doing this with us, Gray, man. This is awesome.
No, like I said, when we and you talked about doing this together, you know, I can't wait till we're at like number 50 or 100 and we can look back and all the, it's just going to be so much, it's just building so much fun and building our viewerships together. My last live stream with you actually did pretty good in regards to some of the folks coming over from the channel and joining us on these.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not subscribed to Gray, go over to his channel and subscribe. You know, Gray has a great channel. You know, I only wish that he would put out more content, but go check out his channel.
If I didn't have a full-time job and
no, I understand. Yeah, I understand.
I would be. I mean, that's all I would pump out.
I mean, we've talked about this. We've talked about this a bunch, and I tell you, I'm like, you have to do what is right for you. That's it. You have to do the best thing that you can do for yourself, and then everything works itself out. Right? You just have to do what's best for you and your family, and then everything works itself out.
I agree, brother, and I appreciate the support, man, that you've given me throughout the years. Because we've been friends for a while now, man. We've been friends for a while.
There's one of the blessings from YouTube is that I've made a lot of really good friends. A lot.
Agreed.
So
I've met some really good people. I think Jeff is in chat. Jeff has come to visit me at the shop, and he brought me like little gifts and stuff like that, like jams and jellies and stuff he makes. It's awesome, man.
Awesome. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, let me cut in real quick. If you are new to this channel, meaning that, let's say you've subscribed within like the last couple of weeks, and or if this is your first live stream, if you can stay till the end of the live stream, what we'll do is we will shout you out. So what I will ask right before our outro, what I will ask is that you put "I am new" in all caps, and then we'll shout you out so you can see your name on the screen, and so that everyone in the community can welcome you to our community. All right. So we have probably about another maybe 10 minutes, Gray?
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I'm looking at the time. The daughter texted me. She says, "I'm ready." I told her I'll be there in a few. She's
okay.
Like
okay, then we'll get it. We'll get her done. We'll get her done, man.
I'm trying to find something easy as a question. I appreciate that, Miss Worm. And that's what I was going to tell you, Rudy. Some people I've gotten, like I said, a couple of people have found me somehow, and they say that I know maybe like usually what when I'm going to start doing on my lives is I'm going to put a link to your channel in the description so that they can easily find you. And I'll mention that during our live streams.
Okay. Sounds good.
Because it'll make it easier.
Well, what I usually do is I mean, all they have to do is go to the community page, and we usually have the like, for example, on your community page, you probably have the link to this live stream for today. And then next week on my community page, we'll have the link to your live stream which will be on your channel, right? And they can just subscribe there. So
yeah, that's usually I always wondered how many people look at the community tab. And I notice if I put like something like, "Hey guys, you know, I'm not feeling well," or something like that, I'll get 200 or 300 thumbs up and comments and stuff like that. Sometimes when I put like information like, "Hey, there's a live stream over here," 5, 10, thumbs up. And I don't know if it's just YouTube pushes it or people just see it and then just, click on. I don't know what happens with the community tab. Hopefully people are getting the information, because a lot of people don't get notifications anymore, like you were talking about earlier. Anything pop up in the chat that you wanted to address?
No, I'm just starting a whole bunch of comments here and stuff so that I can go over it during our outro.
Yeah, because some of these questions are, we're going to have to go through these in a different
Well,
time.
let's just do one, man. Let's just do one easy one, and then we'll call it, because we are almost at an hour and a half.
Yeah, so there's a question, and she directed it to you. There's a two-part question. We'll do the other one next week, but Sheba5203 said, Rudy, after waxing your block cheese, where can it be stored?
You want to store it somewhere where there's air circulation. All right. I think I went over this on that video that I did on where to store it and stuff. But you want to make sure that there's good air circulation all around. You want to make sure that it's not extremely dry. All right. But I believe that where I stored it, the what do you call the wetness of the air?
Humidity.
Humidity. The humidity where I stored mine when I did it was around 60% or so, right? Which is not bad. That's what it was. The temperature was always a constant around 60 degrees or so. And it had good air circulation. And the best that I did was 1 year. So I believe that I did a test where after I did the waxing, I stored it, and then I tried a piece after a month. Then I did one after 3 months, then 6 months, then 1 year. And they were all good all the way up to a year. I didn't go over a year because I ran out of cheese. But I know that it works now. So, okay, hey, you know what, Gray? I think we're going to go ahead and call it.
And yeah, folks, if you have questions, I'm going to add them to this. I'm going to keep this list going. Eventually, we probably might have a book, but we'll try to get to them as we can, depending on the topic. Tonight was some hot topics, so we didn't get a chance to go through too much.
Lots of fun.
Yeah. And like I said, I will try to keep them running so that we can answer them. I usually put a little check mark next to them once we get them. Next week will be on my channel, and it'll be Rudy and I as usual. And who knows what we'll be discussing? You never know what's going to happen this week in the news cycles or in the United States or abroad.
And what I will try to do, for those of you that maybe got here late, what I will try to do, I can't promise anything. I'll try to put chapters on this. That way, if you got here late, you can look at it maybe tomorrow, and then you can skip from topic to topic without having to try to find something. So I'll try to have chapters on it sometime tomorrow, okay? But that's not a promise. I will try my best to do that. All right. Other than that, hey, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in. As always, thank you very much for your support. And thank you, Gray, for joining in. I will go ahead and let you take it away, and then we will go out with an outro and with us shouting out all of our new community members. All right. So God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper, and take it away, Gray.
Well, I want to say again, thank you all for joining us this evening and through our rants and trials and tribulations and everything we discussed. And we appreciate your support for hanging out for this hour and a half. Sometimes we go over, you know what I mean? So we really thank you guys for taking that time out of your lives to spend with us and the community. But remember, folks, you are not alone. This is Gray Man, and I'm out. God bless you all.
God bless.